Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cartiela, and if you're new here, which you probably are because this is my third YouTube video, welcome. Today I want to talk to you guys. I want to have a little girl chat. I want to talk to you all about something that is very near and dear to my heart because I'm very big on self-improvement. I'm very big on growing as a person, as an individual. So I want to talk to you about my top 3 recommendations for leveling up in life and really just seeing yourself from a different perspective. But while I'm talking about that, I am going to be making some sourdough discard cinnamon rolls. So I'm gonna leave some information in the description about how I'm making it, some more details about the measurements and everything like that are gonna be in the video as I'm talking. All right, so first things first, you wanna go ahead and add your milk. All right, after you add your milk, you wanna go ahead and add your sourdough discard. This is 1 cup of discard. You wanna go ahead and add your egg. Softened butter. You're gonna add some bread flour. I'm using King Arthur bread flour. This is my favorite brand. It makes everything light and fluffy. You're gonna follow that up with some wheat flour as well. Once you have all of your ingredients mixed together, you're gonna add it to your stand mixer. You're gonna mix it for 2 to 3 minutes.
You can close it.
So after about 2 minutes, you wanna go ahead and add your salt in. You don't wanna immediately turn the mixer on right after adding your salt. You wanna let the salt sit on top of the dough for a few minutes. Once you're done letting it sit, then you're gonna mix it together so it has a chance to work its way through the dough. This process is called an autolyse. So you wanna make sure that you cover the dough and let the salt sit on top of the dough for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, we're gonna put it back on the mixer and mix it into the dough. While we let that sit, let's get into this conversation, this girl talk about my top 3 things that you need to have in order to level up in life, in order to become the person that you need to become. This has helped me tenfold change my life in a very short amount of time. So if you can grasp this, I promise you'll be better off. So one of the first suggestions that I have that really helps me in my personal life and my day-to-day journey is you have to be a certain level of delusional. And I know that that has a lot of stigma behind it. A lot of people think that, being in a state of delusion is, taboo or it's weird. But realistically, to really see the change that you want to see in your life, you have to visualize that change first. You have to immerse yourself in the idea that you can have it first. And by definition, that's going to require that you are somewhat delusional. Something that I heard recently that really stood out to me and really changed my perspective in a really major way is that reality is not reality. Reality is a manifestation of spirituality. Spirituality is where our thoughts and our ideas, where those things live. Where we are right now, our reality is a manifestation of our thoughts, things, ideas that we first thought about that we are now acting on in the physical, in reality. So if you can get through your mind that you're not working on the plane of physical, the physical is the aftermath. You're working on the plane of spiritual, you're working on the plane of thought, then you'll really begin to become very attentive and focused on whatever it is that you're thinking about, allowing it to overtake your thoughts. That's gonna be my number 1 thing. Be open and be okay with being delusional. There's nothing wrong with it. You actually need to be if you wanna see significant change in your life. Now, being delusional kind of ties directly into the next thing that I want to talk about, which is being very mindful of thoughts and what you're thinking about. It's really important to remember to think in general. And I know that sounds kind of silly, like of course, like you should take time to think, but you would be surprised how many people I encounter, how many people in the world do not want to sit and think. They don't want to sit and think their own thoughts. They don't want to sit and think about ideas and things that might come to them. And in my opinion, my theory on why that is because it's going to start to hold you accountable to your actions. So if you decide to sit and think about, something that you've been putting off, something that you've been wanting to do, but you for whatever reason have been procrastinating, if you sit and think about that thing and you start to really delve into the possibility of bringing it to life, again, bringing that, idea into the physical, you're going to start to feel this weight of like, okay, like there's a lot to do. And I think a lot of people just don't want to deal with that burden. They don't want to have to sit with their own thoughts because it's going to hold them accountable to making many of those thoughts real. And if you can manage to not allow the fear of thinking your own thoughts to overtake you, if you can manage to do that, then you might even find that you have some really great ideas that are totally within your reach to get done. You just have to do it. Like a popular trend to talk about is girls talking about beauty blindness, right? If you haven't seen it, beauty blindness is where, the girls, they'll be like, oh, I had wig blindness and I had eyebrow blindness and I had, just overall makeup blindness or whatever it is. A lot of that is when you think about it, is a result of not listening to yourself and not paying attention to what works for you. You're looking at and paying attention to what works for someone else, and great for them. We all have different features. We all have different skin tones. We have different hair types, and all of those things tie into what makes us uniquely beautiful. If we don't take the time to listen to our own thoughts that tell us, okay, this works for you, this probably wouldn't work for you. You're this skin tone, you probably shouldn't buy that, color or shade in makeup, but if you don't take that time to really step back and say, do I need that? Do I need to do this? Then you might be overwhelmed by the content that is kind of pushing you to buy and pushing you into getting things that don't serve you. And that's just kind of one sort of real world example of the consequences of not allowing yourself to really dig deep and think about your own thoughts. Thinking about your own thoughts is super, super important if you want to elevate and change your life, because there is never going to be anyone on this earth who is like you, who can do what you do, who can bring what you can bring to the table. If you're able to sit with yourself, think your own thoughts, bring those ideas to life, have a tangible service or product that you can offer, you're already so far ahead of so many people who just refuse to do that thing because they're afraid of what might come out of them. That is my second suggestion. Think. Don't be afraid to think. Think your own thoughts and allow them to guide you and to manifest into your physical reality. And that leads me to number 3, my third suggestion. But before I get to that, let's get back to the cinnamon rolls. So it's been 20 minutes. We're going to put the dough back on the mixer and mix the salt in with it. Now that that's done, we're ready to continue with mixing the salt into the dough. So once you blended the salt into the dough, you want to let that mixture sit for about 4 hours. The 4 hours is kind of a long time, but it's going to help the dough to thicken. It's going to help it to rise and really build some strength before you cook it. So I'm going to let this rest for hours. I'm going to cover it and then I'll be back for the rest of the process. All right, and then my last suggestion for you guys, last one that I personally struggle with the most, is you have to see yourself the way that God sees you. You might be asking, like, what does that mean? How does that look? Like, what does seeing yourself the way God sees you look like? I have one question for you for that question. Is there anything in your life that you do that is in direct opposition to what it is that you need to be doing to live a better life? It could be something like, that you should be eating healthier, yet you choose to eat garbage. You know that you should be working out, yet you choose not to go to the gym. You know that you need to drop that guy, yet you choose to continue seeing him. If your answer is yes to any of those things or anything like that, then you probably also struggle with seeing yourself the way God sees you, seeing yourself from a higher level, from a higher standpoint, having higher standards for yourself. As far as how you can see yourself the way God sees you, it's really just about asking. I'm someone that's very, very big on prayer because it literally works. You can ask God for anything. Ask, how can I see myself the way that you see me? How can I discern your voice apart from my own so that I can make better decisions for my life? Because what's going to end up happening is you're going to start to be transformed. Because whenever you get in the presence of God, you're going to be transformed in some kind of way. Something is going to come over you to where you want to do better. What's going to happen is you're going to start to feel a change happen, and you're going to want to start to do things that serve you because you know that it is, serving the kingdom. You're going to start doing things that serve you. For example, if you want to eat healthier, make a vow to yourself that you're going to eat healthier. You want to see yourself the way God sees you, so you start to eat healthier. You know that that's a part of becoming the person you need to become to live a better life. You eat healthier, you start to feel better. You might even start to lose weight. Maybe your hair looks more luscious. Maybe your skin looks better. And then what happens is other areas of your life level up. Yeah, your hair, your skin, your nails, but now your mood is better. That makes your day better. When your day gets better and your mood is better, the things that happen in your day is better because you're seeing life better. Your reality is better, right? So if these things begin to happen and if these things are changing, they're changing in your favor, you're going to start to anticipate better for your life as well. You're going to start to anticipate that things are going to look up for you. And when you anticipate better, you're going to begin to manifest better scenarios, better people, better occurrences in your life. And all of it goes back to seeing yourself the way God sees you, seeing yourself from a higher level, a higher standpoint. So that one is one that's really tough. It's even tough for me because I definitely backtrack sometimes. I definitely fall and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll just do this. It's just one time, sure. It may not serve me. It may not be the best thing for me. This might not be the best person for me or whatever I'm dealing with. But if you can end those moments more often than not, because, we're human, we all fall short. But if you can end those moments, say to yourself, okay, I want to practice seeing myself the way God sees me. I want to practice seeing myself from a higher level, carrying myself with certain standards that serve me. If you in those moments can make that decision and make better choices, you're going to get better outcomes. And when you have better outcomes, you're going to anticipate better for your life. Those are my top 3 things. That one, let me know how that one works for you guys, because that one is a real struggle for me as well. But I guarantee you, if you do all 3 of these things, if you practice seeing yourself the way God sees you, because that is a practice, which I can talk about more on that in another video. Practice seeing yourself the way God sees you. Be delusional and all of the craziness that entails. Be delusional and think. Take time to think your own thoughts. Take time to listen to yourself. Take time to dwell on your own ideas. If you do all 3 of those things, there is no possible way that your life won't level up, that things won't start to look better for you, that you won't attract better people, better opportunities, and just have an overall better life. So that's all I have for y'all in this video. I want to talk to y'all more about self-improvement, just the journey of changing your life for the better. That's my biggest thing. That's the biggest thing that I'm dealing with right now, and I want to take y'all on my journey, but I also want to help you with your own. So if this video helps you, I encourage you to leave a comment. I would love to know y'all's thoughts on my top 3 suggestions. I'm gonna see y'all in the next video. Okay, so I actually ended up having something to do after that 4-hour period. So this is the next day. You can bake the dough up to 24 hours after you mix it. So the first thing you want to do is lay out some flour, and you want to lay the dough out in kind of like a rectangular shape. The shape doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to be good enough to be able to roll up into kind of like a very long cylinder shape. And you want it to be big so that you have several pieces that you can put into your pan. So here I am shaping it out, adding some butter to it just so that it's a little bit more chewy, a little bit more buttery, a little bit more soft. Then you're going to add in your cinnamon sugar mixture. I'm going to also include this mixture in the description of what goes into it. It's very simple. And then you're going to roll that up. So I like to kind of just like roll it very slowly. Don't go too fast. You want to take your time on this part because it is prone to ripping, as you're going to see in a second. But you're just going to roll it down, keep on rolling. And once you get to the end, you're going to cut it into little pieces. But I'm going to continue rolling here, and you see that rip right there. So as you can see, I'm just going to kind of ignore that and keep going. Once you're done rolling, you're going to want to make it kind of tight, just make sure it's tight and in place. And then you're going to grab your pan, clean off your workstation, and begin to chop the dough up into little pieces so that it can go into the pan. I like to put a little bit of butter in the pan just so it doesn't stick too bad. You can add in some cooking oil or whatever you would like to add to make sure it doesn't stick. And then you're going to cut it into little pieces. I would say these pieces are about 2 inches long. So try to be even with it as possible. Take your time on this part so that it doesn't come apart as you're cutting, and kind of place them gently into the pan. So I'm going to finish that process. Another thing I want to mention is that these rolls do not last long, so you want to eat them pretty quickly. And then I had some extra space, so I just kind of spaced it out. It doesn't have to look perfect. It just needs to be delicious and edible. So that's what it looks like. And then we're going to fast forward to go ahead and put it in the oven. So you want to place it in the oven at 400 degrees for about 30 minutes if it's not preheated. If you're preheated, then about 20 minutes. Get your icing. I'm going to put the icing in the description as well, the ingredients, and then you are done. So it was absolutely delicious. I ate all those 3 pieces you saw there, and I had to keep from eating the rest of it. But it's so good. So if you guys try it, please let me know.